Hello, welcome to another video from BetfairTradingCommunity.com. Today I'm going to talk about the overall home and away filters and explain how they're used and how you can use them when you create your own strategy or when you're editing another strategy you may have picked up along the way. So we're going to go over to the stats software here for the football, and we're going to go straight to create new filter. Now, this is the bit I want to explain. This kind of first topic bar, because some people get confused here. I also think it's really important to do a tutorial on it anyway. Now, home is going to be focusing on the home team that's playing. Okay, so say you've got Man United versus Ipswich. When you look at the home stats, you'll be looking at Man United. So if you select home as your option, whatever you pick next will now be looking at the stats based on the Man United perspective, specifically looking at the home matches they've played. Okay, because the software focuses on the home's fixtures for the home team and the away matches for the away team. It collates the data for those matches. The reason being that obviously over the years we've found that that's by far the most reliable source of data when looking into team form. If Man United, if I'm looking at their home game and that, I'm looking at stats when they played away, let's say away at Liverpool, well, how relevant is that stats compared to their last home match? We all know that teams play better at home in general. For example, apart from Norwich this season, which is really bizarre, who can't get a point at home. But that's another good example, actually, that example there, where Norwich are really good away from home, really poor at home. But if I looked at their home form, looking at their next away match, it might make me think, oh, they're in really bad form. I won't get them, I'll lay them. Not realizing actually they've won pretty much every away game so far this season. So that's why it is that way. That doesn't really matter that much. The most important thing is that when you're looking at the home stats, you select home, it will be focusing on the home team. Now, away team is obviously the same, but the other way around. When you select away, and in the example I gave earlier of Man United playing Ipswich, you'll be focusing on Ipswich's stats and specifically Ipswich's away results, the stats from their away matches this season or last season if you're looking through the last 10 games and it's only the start of the season. Overall, we'll look at both teams' stats combined. Okay, again, using the home results for the home team and the away results for the away team, but it will combine those two things together. Head to head teams, fairly self explanatory. It's when they've played, obviously, each other. And then head to head overall will be when they played the general group head to head. Now, what I'm more interested in talking about a little bit here is Betfair. Because you might look at this and go, well, I understand what the other things are, but Betfair, what's Betfair? It doesn't really make much sense. Betfair's the exchange we trade on, right? When you select stats, it will become clearer. So you can either look at total here or odds. Now, the one that I really like to look at is odds, but I'll talk about total first. And you can see actually here, if you select total, it will show you traded amount. So if you want to set a minimum amount of traded on, say, the 0-0 scoreline or any other scoreline, looking at how much the fave has been backed, how much money's on it. This is really good for strategies where you want a minimum liquidity, a minimum amount of money match on the market before you place a bet. So that can be really helpful for that. But the one I want to focus on a little bit more here is odds, because I think this is a really good filter that you can add in to pretty much any strategy, providing obviously the markets available. And I'll show you which markets we have in a second for this. Because if you're looking at the odds, you can already set a limit for minimum odds that you want for your strategy, for your selections, the type of odds range you like to trade, the type of odds range you think might work best with this strategy. And then you select it. Well, we could look at the correct score odds. We can look at the favourite, underdog. We can look at home, away, and draw odds. I use those a lot, actually. I use the home, away, and draw odds a hell of a lot in my strategies. I even have strategies that just look at the odds. All they do is look at the odds, and it's really good because it gives me a list of the teams and their odds that day, and then I can then look further if I want to into that. You've got the over-unders here, obviously all the popular over-under markets. So that's what you can look at here for the odds. And again, if you've got an under 1.5 goal strategy, why not look at the odds, minimum odds, or even maybe maximum odds, or a range of odds you could use. So again, that's what Betfair is for. Betfair is either for looking really at the total amount of money traded or looking at the odds. And again, this can add another string to your bow, really actually quite a strong one for your Betfair trading, because you're able to add in odds and work out, is my strategy going to be value? I might look for, let's say I look for a away team that scores over 2.5 goals. Well, they have over 2.5 goals in their match, 60% of the time. And I go, oh, that's pretty high. Well, if the over 2.5 goal odds are 1.33, it's not much use if I'm finding a strategy that's giving me teams 60% or above, right? So that's kind of where I use odds. Odds is very good for looking at finding value and also looking for odds that you're comfortable trading at. Remember, lots of people are different and very comfortable at trading different things. I get this all the time when people send me their strategy requests and they'll say, this is what I like. I don't mind risk as long as it's kind of backed by data. Or they'll say, I actually want to play it really safe. I want to play it as safe as possible. And that's where odds can come in, because you might not want to ever back anything at 1.33, whereas other traders are very happy to back at those kinds of odds, knowing that they're getting value. If they do so, they're happy to do it. And so again, it can be a very powerful thing to use. But yeah, the most important thing I'd say out of this is that, remember, when you select home, it will look at home matches for the home team. And again, if you select the away team, it will look at that away team stats, but only their away games. It won't look at the home games they've played. Okay, so that is really the explanation of this kind of first bar of the stats software. And hopefully now you'll be able to pick the one you want to roll with. And remember, you don't just have to pick one. If I pick away here and then look at odds and select, let's see what I look at here. Let's go for away. And then let's look at percentage. And let's say we go for, full time 0-0. And then I go greater than or equal to 5% and add that. I can then go back and do home as well. So you're not restricted to just using one of the things. And this is how you can start to build, a really strong Betfair trading strategy. All right, everyone, hope that tutorial has been good for you. If not, obviously let me know if you need any more help with your Betfair trading. Just head over to betfairtradingcommunity.com and hit us up there and I'll get back to you and help you. All right, have a good one.